Today we are talking about the food at a hotel Continental breakfast and which are the healthiest and least healthiest and most toxic and least toxic foods. So we're going to start at one end and go to the other.
This is oat milk.
Well, first, I'd like to point out that nothing here is perfect because nothing is organic, and usually I aim for 100% of my diet to be organic. So considering that, we're going to talk about what are the best and worst choices. So this one is not terrible, but it's not organic, and it probably contains additives such as gums and preservatives. So next we have dairy milk, yogurt, and hard-boiled eggs. And I avoid all dairy because all of it contains high phthalates and it's highly inflammatory. The hard-boiled eggs are actually a great choice out of the options because we know exactly they're one ingredient. I have looked in food service, and so I have seen that sometimes they arrive in a plastic bag full of liquid. I'm not sure what's in the liquid, so that might be something to look into. Next, we have toppings for the yogurt or oatmeal. The coconut would be healthy except that it's sweetened. And then obviously sugar I avoid. Almonds, even though they're not organic. And when you have pre-sliced nuts, they can be more susceptible to mold contamination that you wouldn't be able to see. And then as far as dried fruit, I recommend that to people who are trying to gain weight, so keep that in mind, and the raisins, and they would also be concentrated pesticides. The flax seeds would be a good choice. Next we have cereals. Obviously those are highly processed, have lots of sugar and additives. The Cheerios, I would say, would be the best option out of those because they have the fewest ingredients. Next we have oatmeal. This is actually a pretty good choice, even though it's not organic, and oats have been found to be contaminated with glyphosate often, even though it's not used directly on them. And they're also often contaminated with gluten, even though oats are supposed to be gluten-free. Another good thing about the oatmeal is that it comes in a stainless steel container. They do have a sign for gluten sensitivity options. I did ask about that, and I'll show you that last. Next there are the muffins, bread, bagels, English muffins. The muffins are almost pure sugar. The first ingredient is sugar. They are so sweet. And then bagels are so many carbs, keep that in mind. So much more than a piece of bread. But even the bread hits your body like sugar, like a candy bar. These are just toppings. That's cheese. I do like that these are all in glass containers. These are things that could be put on the bread products. It's all sugar. Do know that when you see honey like this, this is not real honey. This is a sugar product. And then the peanut butter has a lot of sugar and unhealthy oils. And also I avoid all peanut butter because it is highly susceptible to alpha toxin from mold. And then these are obviously tons of sugar and citric acid, which I avoid like the plague. And then there's butter in here, which has the same issue that I mentioned about the dairy, and also the wrappers of butter have been found to contain PFAS, which are forever chemicals. This is the hot bar foods, which do change daily, although the scrambled eggs are every single day, and then there's usually some kind of sausage and some kind of potatoes. And this is a veggie burger crumble, which I looked at the ingredients and they're actually not terrible, besides the hydrogenated oils, and rice has arsenic, and I usually don't eat corn. The potatoes have high pesticide levels. A scary thing I found out about the scrambled eggs was very disappointing because I was eating those every single day. but I saw the ingredients list and they contain citric acid, and it explained a lot about why I was feeling so terrible. So I definitely stopped eating those, and I'll never eat them again. At some places that you find scrambled eggs or any egg product made with, they basically come in a large bag of liquid eggs. Sometimes it is just plain eggs, but sometimes they will have preservatives, unfortunately, like citric acid. And then the sausage is highly processed, and I haven't looked into the ingredients yet, but from what I already know, they contain a lot of additives that aren't great. The juices are pretty terrible for you because they are such a concentrated source of sugar. Like drinking juice is so much worse than eating the actual fruit, because the fruit contains a lot of fiber and stuff with it. So I definitely don't recommend any kind of juices, especially non-organic, because then they're concentrated sources of pesticides. As far as the whole fruits, at least you know exactly what you're getting. There's no, additional ingredients. They do have pesticides, but bananas, I would say, are actually one of the best choices at places like this, because bananas, as far as fruits grow, because bananas have a relatively low level of pesticides. Oranges have slightly more, but still, like I said, are a fairly good option toxicity-wise, because at least you know exactly what you're getting, and you don't have to worry about the materials that they are cooked in, such as the non-stick cookware that the scrambled eggs and such are made in.
Next, coffee section.
So my concerns with coffee are that they are often contaminated with mold. So I don't drink any coffee. I also avoid
and definitely not good for kids.
The waffles are by far, in my opinion, the worst, the most toxic food here. Starting with the spray, this goes like to make it non-stick on the waffle iron. Look at those ingredients. Someone asked me, like, what's bad about this? Well, everything is bad except the water. Do you want to eat silicone and all of these preservatives? I don't. Then the waffle iron itself, I've shared posts about how they contain lead, PFAS, and other horrible chemicals. And then the waffle batter itself contains tons of sugar and highly processed, unhealthy ingredients. Then the toppings, I'm sure the fruit has lots of preservatives and possibly dyes added. The whipped cream has tons of bad ingredients added. Carrageenan has been proven to be very detrimental to your gut health. And then, of course, the syrups are extremely processed and artificial. Anytime you see something sugar-free, it contains lots of sugar alternatives that are highly toxic.
And fake sugar.
This is a mango topping that has citric acid again. And sodium benzoate is also pretty bad. And you've probably heard high fructose corn syrup is to be avoided. When I asked about the gluten-free options, I was told they only had muffins, and this is what it is. First ingredient is sugar, is basically all sugar. But like I said, the ones with gluten are probably about the same, except they contain wheat instead of rice. Both wheat and rice have tons of toxicity concerns. The rice, as I mentioned, has arsenic, and the wheat is always pretty much has tons of glyphosate, which is really, really bad stuff. And then you can see the oils and all those preservatives and such in this. Also note that if you take the muffin out, this is the cup it was in, and I'm pretty sure it was baked in this, and you can see it has like a plastic coating on it. So that is, I'm sure it contains PFAS, which are used to make things nonstick. So I definitely wouldn't want to eat anything that was baked in plastic.